Archetypally Spiraling, where we think it through, feel it out, and spiral just a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. So if you saw on Tuesday, it's currently Thursday, if you saw on Tuesday when I uploaded an episode that was up for 20 minutes, yes, I uploaded on Tuesday. I just wasn't really proud of the episode and I decided to put it up anyways, but then I just wasn't in love with it. So I just decided to take it down, and I would much rather miss a Tuesday or take an episode down that maybe I'm not so proud of so that I can give you guys one that I am proud of. So we're here, we're back, and I'm excited for today's episode. It should be a good one, and some things happened at work today that told me I needed to talk about this, which is very exciting. We'll get into that in just a second. But I want to talk about some pop culture a little bit. So for our pop culture moment, not very long ago, Hulu just had their Get Reel event where they announced new shows. Khloe Kardashian announced her new reality show that she's executive producing. The new cast of the Mormon Wives Orange County show came out, which don't even get me started on that. But the event is called Get Reel, and I don't know if you guys know who Niki Demar is. She is a YouTuber. She has been a YouTuber for a very, very long time. I actually used to watch her when I was in high school, and she has a podcast called Get Reel, Get Reel, and the fonts on the event and her podcast are very similar, both very, very like curly Q. She posted an Instagram story after the event, basically saying that Hulu copied her name, copied her font, and that she was going to get her lawyer involved, and her graphic designer who designed her logo for her podcast also went on to Instagram to say that her and Niki went back and forth and all of these things, and basically how, yes, Hulu should be held responsible for copying Niki. And then not very long after, she never addressed it, but her designer did a Google search and was like, oh, this event actually existed before we created the podcast logo. I should have done a Google search, yada, yada, yada. Niki never addressed it. Number one, I just think it's hilarious. I understand being upset, especially in a world of AI and copycats and all of that. I can understand that and appreciate that. But it took one Google search to see when the original Hulu Get Reel event, I guess the first one that happened, wasn't very advertised, and so not very many people heard about it. Whereas this year's, there was a lot of advertisements for it. They live streamed it, and they invited a ton of people, and so a lot more people knew about it. Number one, I just think it looks really bad on Niki's part to be calling out Hulu, having not done any research, especially threatening legal action. But I think it looks even worse not acknowledging it on her Instagram. She may have acknowledged it since I filmed this, but I just feel like this is an instance where she could have either apologized or kind of done what her graphic designer did and kind of turn it into a joke, like, oh, Google exists, I should have used it, like just something, because as of right now, nothing has been said. So it's not a big deal, but I just feel like from a PR standpoint, that's a very easy, like, oh, silly me, I should have Googled it, I overreacted, and moved on with your life. I don't know. I know it's not a very big deal, but it just kind of cracked me up. I guess I should also address, I'm not in my usual filming space. I, number one, got some new chairs in my living room that I'm kind of obsessed with. They're really beautiful. They're very comfortable, and I love sitting in them. But I also just kind of like my living room setup. It's kind of fun. You guys get to see like my bookshelf, and we have a little record wall right here. I'm looking in my viewfinder. We have, my husband is a musician and loves Jimi Hendrix. We have a Jimi Hendrix poster here. I painted this record, and then we have, who is up there? We have Frank Sinatra on the bottom, and then you guys can't see it very well, but this middle record, if you're just listening to this, I'm so sorry, but this middle record is On the Waters by Bread, and it actually has mine and Weston's first dance song at our wedding, so that's there. And then the top vinyl that you guys can't see is James Taylor, but they all have blue in them, and my couch that you guys also can't see have blue in them, so it all kind of gets tied together. Irrelevant, but kind of fun. You guys can see, there's like a Lego bonsai tree and a bunch of books, and I don't know, kind of fun. I have a backdrop in mind I want to make, but for now, I think this is a little bit more fun than my boring office plain wall. But let me know if you guys like the kind of change in setup. Plus, it's like kind of cloudy today, so it's perfect lighting to be doing this right now, which is really good because it's kind of late after work. Not late after work, but it's after work, and the lighting can be funky. So let me know what you think. Do I have any other updates for you guys? I feel like kind of all over the place. We're spiraling a little bit, which is what we do on this podcast. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to update you guys on. I don't really think so. I don't think so. But I want to get into today's topic. This is a topic that I am very, very passionate about, and a topic that I have been thinking a lot about recently, and then some things that happened at work today, like I kind of said at the beginning, verified for me that this is a topic that I want to talk about. And I want to talk about the importance of timing in your life, and the importance of realizing that if things aren't working out for you, maybe think about the timing a little bit. I don't know. Let's get into it. I don't need to explain the topic to you. Let's just talk about it. The reason I first thought of this topic is I heard somebody recently say, the doors that are meant for you won't open until you're ready to walk through them. And I am a very, very firm believer in this from personal life experiences and watching the people in my life go through certain experiences. Let's talk about my experience first. I want to tell this story in the most respectful way possible because I never want to intentionally talk bad about people. So let's back it up to 2022. I was in a relationship, not with Weston. Shocker, Scandy. Oh my gosh. We will call this man... We'll just call him boyfriend for the sake of not outing him. I was in a relationship, and I guess let's back up even further. Guys, I'm really in a spiral right now. So when I moved to college, I moved in with a friend of mine. We'll call her Meg. And we were not friends before we became roommates. We were randomly selected to live together in college, and we became best friends. Like, she would drive home with me to my parents' house all the time. We did everything together. When we moved apartment complexes, we moved together. We did everything together. She was my favorite person, my very, very best friend. And we were friends with boyfriend. Again, I'm going to call him boyfriend, but at this time he was not dating. We were not together. Meg had a crush on boyfriend, and for a very long time we were all in the same friend group, and she had expressed her feelings several times and he wasn't about it. And eventually boyfriend asked me on a date, and I asked Meg if it was okay if I went on this date. She said yes, and me and boyfriend start dating. And then Meg's feelings ended up being hurt, and I didn't know that they were hurt as much as they were. We were young. Communication sucks. Hurt feelings are hard. And there's no animosity, which is why I feel very comfortable telling this story. But Meg's feelings were very hurt, and there ended up being a lot of distance between her and I, and boyfriend and I would talk about it all the time because we were all in the same friend group. And so it just made things really awkward in the friend group, and I felt really bad. And Meg and I ended up not being roommates anymore. She moved into our roommate's room, and that just created more distance. And I just ended up moving apartments altogether. I felt very, very uncomfortable. It was a very sad situation. Again, there's no animosity between me and Meg in real life anymore. We've both moved on with our lives. So no drama there. I moved in with some cute, fun girls. Again, just random placements. All those girls were amazing. And then boyfriend and I broke up. And I was so sad. I was so sad, obviously. I am a very emotional person. Weston can tell you I have very large emotions. So when I feel them, I really, really feel them, which is a blessing and a curse. I'd say like 85% a blessing and 15% a curse. And in this moment, it very much felt like a curse. I felt very, very alone because Meg was my very best friend and we weren't talking anymore. She was the one person I wanted to go to about what was going on, and I couldn't. And I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I had been thinking about moving apartment complexes when boyfriend and I were still together. And the timing just happened to work out that boyfriend and I broke up. I did one more semester in that apartment, and I just couldn't do it anymore because boyfriend lived in that apartment complex. Meg lived in that apartment complex. Some of our other friends that were in that same friend group, which there was other drama we don't need to get into, were all living at that apartment complex, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I needed to get away from it. I was like so depressed. I was just constantly feeling sad and guilty, and I just needed to get out of that environment. And so I made it through the last few weeks of that semester, and I moved to a different apartment complex, still in town. Like I was still in college. I couldn't move that far, but I moved to a different apartment complex, and that apartment complex is the apartment that I moved into that led me to meeting Weston, and that led me to meeting so many of my friends that I have now. And like I said, the timing couldn't have been perfect. It worked out really well that when Weston and I met in April, neither of us were interested. I was still getting over things with boyfriend, and he, like we talked about in the episode with him, he had a girlfriend back home, and I also wasn't very trusting of men at the time because of what had happened with boyfriend, and like that timing was just perfect. And then Weston went home for the summer, and I had my apartment to myself. The rest of my roommates had gone home for the summer, and so I had 8 weeks of an apartment all to myself. It was glorious. I did a lot of healing. I actually started a separate podcast that didn't last very long. But I was able to have a lot of time to just heal. And then when that fall semester happened, Weston had broken up with his girlfriend. I was in a much better place to be open to dating and getting to know him. And long story short, here we are, almost 2 years married, and the timing couldn't have been better. So there are so many other different scenarios in my life that timing is so important. And I think it's really interesting to hear people talk about timing, because the timing makes so much sense in our brains in hindsight. Hindsight is always 2020. Looking back on our lives, it's like, yes, I'm so glad things worked out the way that they did. The timing was perfect, yada, 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 all these things. But it can be so hard to see that in the moment. It can be so difficult to understand why things are happening, because we don't know why they're happening a lot of the time until we look back at it however long later and say, the reason I didn't get that is because of this, or the reason this happened was so that this could work out. And it is just so cool. I am a believer in the universe. I am a believer in God. And it is so cool to see how God and the universe work to get us to where we are meant to be. And obviously, getting to certain things takes a lot of work, whether that is mental work, emotional work, physical work, career work, schooling. I think opportunities happen on a mixture of timing and hard work, but I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating myself. Timing is so, so important. It makes me think of, I've mentioned her before, one of my favorite content creators to watch. Her name is Hannah Lowther. She is British and she also works in musical theater. My foot's falling asleep. One second. I gotta unravel. She, like I said, works in musical theater. She is currently on tour doing Legally Blonde. She is the principal cast for Margot and then is the cover for Elle Woods. Miss Woods, Elle. I can't remember if it was in a vlog or in one of her own podcast episodes, but she talks about the importance of timing in her life and how things just worked out so perfectly because she was supposed to do a show and then COVID happened. So the show never ended up happening. But then because that show never happened, she was working at Tesco, which I've never been to a Tesco. From what I understand, it kind of sounds like maybe a Walgreens or like a Fry's ? If you're from the UK, let me know. I don't know. She's working at a Tesco and basically she blew up on TikTok because of TikToks that she was making in Tesco, which I actually remember seeing in COVID. She blew up doing videos in Tesco. And then after she kind of blew up on TikTok, she then was able to start auditioning for bigger roles because she had more of a presence and was able to be in Six the Musical in the West End, which is basically Broadway for the UK, and then now is on tour with Legally Blonde performing her dream role of Elle Woods. And the timing just all worked out so perfectly. And she talks all the time about how grateful she is for the things that have happened and the setbacks that made it feel like her life was over, that have led her to now playing her dream role with such an amazing cast. I obviously haven't seen the show. I live in Arizona. I wish I lived over in London or Ireland so I could go see the show. She is so talented. The rest of the cast seems so talented, but it's because of not only I just had an aneurysm. Not only the decisions that she's made, but just all of the accumulation of all of the things that have happened in her life that have led her to being able to be on tour in Legally Blonde. And if you have seen any of her content before and you've asked her dream role, she's always said Legally Blonde, and here she is. How amazing is that? Now, obviously, I'm a believer in manifestation and speaking things into the universe, but a lot of it is just the timing and the universe and God knowing her timing and when the perfect time for her to go on tour with Legally Blonde the musical. How cool is that? The reason I kind of felt confirmed, validated in my brain that this is something that I should be talking about today is I was actually talking to one of my coworkers. Don't worry, girlfriend, I'm not going to put all of your drama online. She actually just resigned today, which is so sad. She has 2 weeks left with us, but it is all for the best. We work at a marketing agency. It's a lot more complicated than that, but for the ease of this story, we work at a marketing agency. And as much as she loves all of us in the office and was enjoying the work, number one, is not an industry she wanted to be in forever. She wasn't loving the schedule. She's not a 9-to-5 girl. She wanted to be able to make some more money and be able to meet new people. And it just so happened that right as her and her boyfriend broke up and she was signing a new lease, she was able to get this job at this new restaurant that would be paying her more money, that's in the industry that she wants to be in, and she's able to meet more people. It gives her the schedule that she wants to go and travel and to go do the things that she wants to do. It will give her the money that she needs to go and do the things that she wants to do. She still gets to live near us, so we can all still be friends. And like the universe really just said, here you go. Here are the things that you have been working on, that you have been so sad that they haven't been working out. It's because of this. It's because I was waiting for this new restaurant to open, for you to go in, for you to be offered the job, for you to meet these girls and to sign a lease with them and to feel confident enough to leave your job and to know that you'll be making enough money. Like she was telling us today, she's like, this job literally just fell into my lap. It actually was so funny. She was like, in the last 6 months, I've applied to 54 jobs and this job just fell into my lap with zero effort. Now, don't get me wrong. Annalise, I'm not quoting her anymore. I am a believer in hard work, and I am a believer in working for the things that you want and for working hard for your dreams. But I'm also a believer that opportunities and timing come from your hard work. And a lot of times the hard work and the setbacks that you experience come together with timing for the absolute perfect opportunity. Sometimes it feels inconvenient. Sometimes it feels out of your control. Sometimes it's like, well, this wasn't part of the plan. But again, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, you're like, oh my mother effing gosh. It's a good thing that happened right then, because all of these amazing things were able to happen, or because I was able to do this, or I was able to meet this person, or I was able to be here at this time for this specific reason. And that can sometimes be a hard reminder to give ourselves when we're having those hard moments. Trust me, been there, done that. In the midst of it right now, it feels so hard and it feels like your whole world is ending, especially if it's a missed opportunity or a setback or something that feels like it's not part of the plan. It is so much easier said than done to remind yourself, this is going to make sense eventually. This is going to be a pivotal moment in what I think. This is going to be a pivotal moment for all of the good things that are going to work out. And a part of it is mindset. I think no matter what's happening to you in your life, if you have a negative mindset about it, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be sad. Life's going to suck. And it's okay to be sad and feel like life sucks for a minute, but you can't sit in that. Number one, no one wants to live like that. But number two, that is so exhausting to just sit in that pit of defeat and despair and self-pity. And even if you can't get yourself to believe, hey, this is going to be an essential part of whatever happens next, you got to get up, put your big girl pants on, and keep going. Because if you don't keep going, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on so many amazing things if you give up. So just remember that timing is so important. And sometimes timing teaches you it's time to move on. Sometimes timing teaches you to change your mind. Sometimes timing teaches you to pivot. Sometimes timing teaches you to keep going. Like whatever that timing is trying to teach you, whatever those setbacks or things that aren't going according to your plan are trying to teach you, it's probably going to suck in that moment, to be so for real with you. But I think that's why it's important to look back on your life every now and then. Every now and then. Sometimes there are some scary things back there, some embarrassing things back there, some stupid things back there. I think that's why self-reflection is so important. Not only can you see how much you've grown, but it also helps you to look back and realize, oh, that didn't happen the way that I thought it was supposed to happen because the time wasn't right yet. Whatever that may be. So timing is so important in literally everything. Literally everything. You have to kind of think about it. This might be kind of a silly analogy, but it's like when someone delivers the punchline of a joke at the wrong time, everyone feels awkward. Everyone kind of feels uncomfortable. The person who said the joke feels a little bit dumb because they did it wrong. The people listening are like, am I supposed to laugh? That felt a little bit off. That's what things happening at the wrong time feel like. When things are happening at the right time, the way that they're supposed to, it feels good. It feels good. Well, when it feels like a setback, it doesn't feel good. But then when the good things that come from the supposed setback that happen at the right time, it feels good. I hope that makes sense. I mean, if it makes not a lot of sense, that's kind of what we do on this show. We just spiral. But hopefully the spiral is like a nice, even, woo. I don't know. We'll see. But timing is important, and everything happens in the time that it's supposed to, which is a lot easier said than done to get yourself into that mindset. But I promise, whatever's going on in your life, timing is everything. I think that's all I have to say about timing. These solo eps are a little bit shorter than my guest episodes. I just love to chat with people. I think it's so fun. And as much as I love to yap, I love when there's someone yapping back with me. There's a little back and forth action going on. And so I would much rather give you guys a little bit of a shorter solo episode than to just keep rambling to make them longer, because I want, like I said earlier, I want to give you guys episodes and products that I'm proud of, and rambling about nothing does not make me proud. So I hope you guys are okay with a little bit of these shorter solo episodes. I'm feeling my tongue is not working today for speaking, so I apologize. We are going to Idaho next week. I get to see my family. We get to see some friends, and I do have some guest episodes that will be filmed while I'm there, which I am so excited about. So you guys should see those soon. I'm going to kind of film a couple next week, and we'll gradually get them out to you guys. I hope you loved today's episode. Let me know your thoughts below on timing. Just let me know your thoughts. I love to hear your guys' thoughts on what I'm talking about. And if you've made it to this point in the episode, comment a puppy dog emoji so I know that you saw this. Anyways, thank you guys for being here. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. If you are on Spotify, please follow the show and give us a 5-star if you loved it. And I will see you guys next week.